Welcome to the Rude Growth Podcast Ep002, brought to you in partnership with Q'd Design. In today's episode, we chat with Ronnie Teja, digital nomad, entrepreneur and startup Branzio watches. We discuss how falling on hard times pushed him into going all in, resulting in Ronnie launching an international e-commerce business and his own branded watch collection.
So we met each other in Bangkok in November.
Yes.
For the first time, but we didn't actually know what each other did for about 3 or 4 days.
Well, that's the beauty, isn't it?
And I still don't really know what you do besides the watch thing. So tell me what the other businesses are which you work on, in a nutshell.
My main businesses are e-commerce businesses. I have a software business, which spans about 29 countries. And I have this watch business, which is basically serves about 30 countries, roughly.
And what's the software business?
The software business is just, we are a store that resells different kinds of software. So it could be like a PDF editor, could be like a Microsoft Office, could be like a backup disk, could be like Snapdragon for voice, could be anything, any sort of software. So we carry about 2,500 different SKUs.
And when did you start
That was my first e-commerce foray. That was about 5 years ago.
5 years, and that was your first business?
Yeah.
What were you doing before?
I was working for another software business, which was not similar in any way to this one, but it essentially dealt with digital downloads. Yeah. So it was quite interesting to find out like how the whole digital download market worked.
Yeah, that's where you got your experience.
Exactly. And before that, I was working in Australia for an ad agency. And then before that, I was working for the big guys like HSBC and
in England?
No, not in England. Not everybody is a subject.
So why did you set up your own business? Why did you leave that last company and then set up?
No, it was freedom. I remember walking in one day and
is this in Australia?
No, this was in Vancouver, and I worked at this company for about a couple of years. And I remember waking up on December the 1st, 2014 or 2015, I don't remember the year, and getting an email, not even a phone call, from the guys I worked for saying, hey, we're having some cuts in the company. You don't need to come into the office anymore. Just send us your passwords and that's it.
What, in the morning?
Yeah, at like 8:30 in the morning. And I was like, man. I mean, it's like, I was like, what just happened? It was like, oh man. Yeah, just send your passwords over the email. I was like, really? You're like, yeah, just tell us how much we owe you. Just send once you send your password, we'll just send you, whatever we owe you. And that's it. Good day to you, sir. And that's it. Bye-bye.
So you just sent it in, you finished that day?
Yeah, that was it. And then I was like, I looked around and I was like, holy hell, what do I do? Because it was December, and of course nobody works in December, especially in Vancouver. And then I had a couple of job leads. Funny story, I actually went to interview with Shopify, and I was supposed to be the digital marketing manager at Shopify. And so they flew me out to Toronto. It's a testament to what Shopify is. It's a great company. They flew me out to Toronto, had a limousine pick me up. They took me to their offices, put me in a hotel for free for like 3 days. They really treated me really well. I didn't make the cut. True story. But, the best story is that from when I went to Shopify and the time that I visited them, it actually got my gears going. It's like, why can't I be my own entrepreneur?
Yeah, it made you
boss?
Give you that interest in
that
stuff.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, our mutual friend Kian.
Well, that's a similar story to Kian, right? How he got into it.
Yeah, but we're roommates.
Oh, and you were roommates as well?
Yeah, we were roommates in college when he started his business. So I've known that guy for about 12 years. So I looked at him and said, hold on a second, He was doing it already. He was already doing it.
Okay.
And he's in all these like funky places. And I was like, holy hell, dude. It's like, why can't we relive our roommate days? Except now we're traveling together.
Yeah, we can do it in different countries. How long before did it happen to him, then it happened to you?
Oh, quite a large gap, I think. For me, it was, from 4 years. So, his business had already been running about 5 or 6 years by the time I had launched my own business.
Oh, so that's a long time.
Yeah, but he's got that learning, 5 or 6 years of learning ahead of me.
Yeah.
Which he's very open to sharing with,
Yeah. So then you lost your job?
Yeah.
And you decided to set up your own business?
My own business, yeah. Because the one thing I knew how... So here's a fun story. when I had worked, the couple of times I had worked at the jobs before at this previous company, I actually was the guy who had got them to upgrade from a really old school website CMS called Miva. I don't know. It takes, not many people would know Miva, but Miva is like the OG of like CMSs. Okay. And it was around in 1994. So they hadn't changed the CMS in about 10 years. And I said, oh, wait a second, you don't need to use that. So I was actually just upgrading them from there to like Magento and then another CMS. So I'd been through this process before, so I actually knew how the whole process went. But I'm not a developer, more of my background's in marketing.
Yeah.
So I know everything about digital marketing and online advertising. That's my strong suit. But, when I started my own business, I knew how to throw traffic at my business. I knew how to sell my business. I knew how to sell my products.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know was how to set up the website infrastructure. And to find a developer in the field that I was looking for took me quite some time.
When you wanted to set up your business, did you have capital to invest to start up? Or were you, having lost the job, were you starting from scratch?
I had $1,500 in my bank account.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was going to make rent next month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Over Christmas.
Yeah. I didn't know how I was going to make rent. So the best stories are the stories where you're pushed into a corner.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you would know about this, Wes.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting in the sense that you have $1,500 in your bank account, and I'm not making this shit up, man. Nobody's going to give me a job because, of course, I'm a loose cannon, and I'm very well aware of it. Quite the loudest guy in the room. The quietest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of like, the question comes to you is like, do I really want to work for somebody and just do what I'm doing? So anyway, to make rent, got a contract job with a couple of people for January, February, and I started working on my business. But you have to eat and you have to make rent, because I don't feel like being at the age of like, I think this is when I turned 29, right?
Okay.
I didn't want to take money from my parents. You can't really do that. I mean, my parents want to know, but still, you can't really be a burden to your parents at that age.
I think when you're tight for money, though, it makes you very careful with what you're spending it on and investing it and making sure that it works out for your business.
No such luck with me. I was still spending a lot on beers.
Just be reinvesting it.
I don't think so. I was pretty good at financial management. Came a little later to me in life, I think.
It's tough leading up to Christmas. There was, before I launched my business,
interesting,
work started to run out a little bit because I was doing furniture fitting and it was self-employed. So they would just ring me up the week before and book me in for the following week. And work dried up leading right up to Christmas. So I was applying for like loads of jobs, and one was to deliver coal for people to use for fires and stuff.
Chimney.
Like, to drive around and deliver coal, and it was. I went to the. Did I do a job?
What year is this? What
year was this?
Did he also mine the coal as little children and then deliver it to?
It was just like we would pick it up in a lorry and we'd go deliver it. This was about 8 years ago. So I went to the offices, signed up for this job, and then he was like, right, you're going to start next week. I didn't start, and it's leading up to Christmas, and then he's like, you're going to start next week. And I messaged him and he said, you'll start when it snows. I was like, what a prick. We're leading right up to Christmas. But then, funny enough, 3 years later, he messaged me and said, I've got some work if you want it. And I was in Spain and I took a picture of a beach and I said, it's not snowing here. Man, it was a shit job. I had to do it. And that's what he said to me.
So he's called you three years later?
Yeah, I must have just been on his book still. Like, he was just going through all the names.
Oh,
and he said, so I'll message you back and I'll do it. Yeah, it's not snowing here. It's like beautiful blue sky.
I think that's a life I think that we ended up building for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about it, it's quite interesting because you're pushed into a corner. You're not going to make your rent. Both situations are quite similar.
Yeah.
You want your freedom, but you can't have that sovereign freedom that you're looking for, right? So what's the next best thing you can do is that you take a chance on yourself. It's not that you're taking a chance on the business or the niche. You're taking a chance on yourself.
Yeah, that you believe in yourself.
And so far, I don't know how your parents brought you up, but my parents, coming from an Asian background, was everything is controlled since the time we were born. What our education system is, what we are to become, and you get a job, you stay at this company for 25, 30 years, and that's the best. That's what you want, stability, right? I mean, my dad worked as a job for 30 years.
Yeah, that's quite old school thinking. That's how people do. That's how it was, not so much for my parents, but growing up, everyone around me is very working class. And it's very much, if you're trying to make money just by yourself, like, why aren't you getting a job yet? Why aren't you getting a proper job yet? Like, when you're going to get a career or whatever, they don't see it as you're going to build your own job, your own career for you.
Yeah, but nobody actually says, take a chance on yourself.
Oh, no.
That's something that I think is quite important. I think if you have a common thread between anybody who started their own company, I think that'd be it. It's like I stopped making other people money and I took a chance on myself to do the same thing.
So when did you start that? You started that, 3 years ago, the software company?
4 years.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
And now you've moved into another e-commerce shop. Because when I was speaking about this before, I did the meetup conference thing in Barcelona, and there was an e-commerce night where a bunch of guys showed up talking about their shops. And I really want to have my own shop. And they're not the only ones to say this to me in the past. They said, we would love to be in the service industry because having your own shop ties up so much cash. Whereas in the service industry, you don't have that problem as such. And it's like a vice versa thing. People in the service industry like the idea of having an online shop and making that money from selling products. Whereas the people in e-commerce want to be selling services rather than physical products.
The grass is always greener.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how are you finding it? You enjoy being in e-commerce?
You know what? I love being in e-commerce. But the thing is, in e-commerce, the margins are quite thin. So you got to think about it this way, right? You have your own e-commerce business. Then you have whatever you're selling, whatever your niche is. You're going to have competition from Amazon, right? So Amazon is by far, it's like, let's call it the default of all e-commerce stores. So whatever you sell, Amazon probably carries it. Yeah. Or whatever you sell, your Chinese supplier is selling it on Amazon. So don't worry about it. The only way you're going to be successful as an e-commerce store is exactly what used to happen in retail, 10 years ago, which was you had your own brand and people respect the brand and people love your brand and they want to just buy your brand, which, you don't sell on Amazon. So they have a following, an aspiration following for your brand. Good example is like Movement watches or something like that. And people go, okay, hey, there's only available on the website, nowhere else. So I'll just go and buy from there.
Do you think that's why that's happened? Those brands have popped up and that's like Movement and stuff.
Yeah.
They've created their own brand rather than
yeah. Oh, it's phenomenal, right? It's like you look at Bailey Nelson, that's like a glasses brand, and Ollie Quinn, similar glasses brand as well, which is kind of like in the same market.
Yeah, because Movement like expanded. They were just watches before, weren't they?
Yeah. They do dropship sunglasses, man. Those sunglasses are definitely not the highest quality, but I think the watches is what brought them in. So I think. I don't know the guys too well, but from what I understand is they took chances on every platform and everything possible. Like they did Kylie Jenner to do live Instagram videos with their watches. So they did lose money.
Yeah.
They've lost money a lot of times, but they tried everything.
Yeah.
Right? So they tried podcasting and podcasting worked for them. They tried Instagram and they tried influencer marketing when it was just coming out. That really worked out for them. So a lot of times in e-commerce, we just stick to what our bases are and we really don't like to explore outside the comfort zone. And I think, hats off to some brands out there that are actually doing it. What's interesting when you look at e-commerce is like our margins are between 5 and 10%.
That's really tight.
Yeah. So now when you think about it from a service perspective, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But what we aim for is volumes, right? So if I just wanted to be in one country, it'd be okay. But now the only way I can increase my order volume would be to like expand as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So that's the way to go. But the thing is, like, coming back to your question, in which you're asking, what side of the business is good? You can combine them, right? So a good example would be is we don't do it, but an example would be like a great upsell would be is like, oh, hey, you're buying this piece of software, whatever it is, can I have your installation done? And the problem is I just don't want to do it out of the fact because Google cracks down on those kind of things. You don't want to be calling somebody's house and be like, oh, hey, and you have this accent on the other side, which is not really kosher.
Sure.
I would just say kosher. Don't want to point names, no ethnicities mentioned here. I'm Indian, can I say if it's okay? If it's like,
That's fine. It's a different jump though from you selling software and then going into watches. Why did you pick watches?
Aspirational, man. It's like
is that just like an interest for you?
Yeah, watches is an interest. Like I don't know, funny story. I actually did Movement's Facebook ads for about about a few months, and I saw these guys grow.
Right. Okay.
And it was just one of those things where I said, okay, if these guys have become such a big brand, and if I had started at the same time and invested in myself to do the similar, to do a similar brand, it'd be interesting. I mean, between the start of my business and, all this other thing, I tried to have my own ad agency, which was like a service-based business. But I didn't like the service-based business because I was tied to my clients. And my clients, they used to say jump, and my ask was how high.
Right, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
So that's why you moved over to a physical product.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I can't remember, I bought my first movement watch maybe 3 years ago.
Traitor.
I didn't even know you. So yeah, I bought it about 3 years ago, and I like their branding on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's probably coincided with Instagram really pushing on over the last
Well, yeah,
couple of
they
years.
experimented from day one on that platform.
And that's when you've got the other brands coming in as well. Who do a similar thing and style, but like different bracelets, or you've got people who are concentrating on sunglasses, clothing lines, and they're very niche.
Yeah, a good
alternative and cool.
Good example of what a lot of people haven't tried it, like a platform like that, which I've been waiting to try out, is a platform called TikTok. I don't know if you know about this one. It's grown from 0 to about 280 million users in about a year and a half, 2 years.
I saw it about 3 days ago for the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
So funny, right?
About it.
It's like Vine. You remember Vine?
Yeah.
The Twitter startup which Facebook killed?
Sure.
Yeah, so it's 10-second videos that are basically funny and people doing like funny stuff. So most of its audiences are right now in China and India. It has really high pickup in Middle East and Africa. So it might be one of those things that actually just picks up in certain parts of the world.
Yeah.
But like it's definitely geared towards a really high pickup.
I'll check that out. I'm interested in the watch business because...
Do tell.
No, not to sell products of watches, but because we are looking to work with CBD companies and e-commerce platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So I found it interesting about how you set up your own brand, create your own product, and how you're marketing that from scratch. I find that all really interesting because the CBD industry are going to find it a lot harder. They can't advertise on any social media platform. But what platform?
But can you not toe the line? There must be a grey area somewhere. Can you rank? You can rank CBD organically on Google, correct?
Oh yeah, on Google you can. Yeah.
What about?
You wouldn't be able to.
Can you post about CBD on Facebook?
No, and I don't even think you can. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think you can have a Facebook group for a product of CBD. The ones what I've seen are support groups for CBD oil where they discuss the benefits and stuff. So it's not a business page for the product oil, it's a support page discussing the benefits. So they're not able to market even though it's not illegal.
Well, that's quite complicated. I haven't worked in a it sounds like gambling.
Well, yeah, it's in a restricted area at the moment because no one really wants to touch it.
Yeah, but that's what opportunity is, right?
Oh,
because what you want to see is how much you can toe the line. Right.
You want to be at the starting blocks as well for when it is allowed to be.
Yeah.
You want to be ready for it.
So, like you said, like the Facebook groups example is a great idea. Yeah. So it's like, you can't advertise it on Facebook, but you can definitely create your own support group, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then write people on there, which is quite interesting because people should be able to do that, right?
Yeah. So they're customers anyway because they're pushed from when they buy products.
What about e-commerce CMSs? Like, what is Shopify's take on it?
Okay. Yeah. So we've just done a blog post about this. Shopify are shutting down the CBD websites. So that's why we specialise in WordPress and WooCommerce, and they can't get shut down in that regard.
Because it's open source?
Yeah, completely. But Shopify is shutting them down, saying it's in a grey area and...
Well, that's kind of sad. And the reason I say it's sad is because in Canada, weed products are quite legal. So I don't know like what sort of flag or torchbearer Shopify is for the Canadian e-commerce ecosystem if it can't even support it.
I think it's just sort of avoiding the headache. Avoiding some sort of headache for doing it. But what platform are you using for your products?
I use Shopify and I use Magento. And for Magento, I use Magento 2.3 with progressive web apps in the front with Vue.js.
And that's for your software business?
Yes.
And then for the watches is Shopify?
Yes.
And why do you use Shopify?
Why do I use Shopify?
Is that just because you saw their offices, you're familiar with the product?
No, it's just I wanted to try it out. The thing with Magento is quite clunky, right? So it's like, I wanted all my developers and everybody else in terms of resources. Magento takes up a lot of our time.
Yeah.
But in terms of Shopify, I literally had one person set it up, one person to do the design, and it took another third person to launch it.
Yeah.
So I only have like 2 or 3 people that could actually run the whole web store for me. So it's very light on that perspective. I mean, it does.
I haven't used it before.
Oh, you should try it. I mean, it's like in the sense that it's that's the good side, right? The apps, they'll cost you a little bit extra, blah blah blah. Same thing you'll pay in WordPress or WooCommerce or Magento. But here's the kicker: if at any point of time Shopify decides that your website is in violation of any agreement, and your competitors will usually will blast Shopify with a lot of emails and lawsuits and everything else, then you are taking that risk with Shopify because you're so dependent on their legal and compliance department, and they can shut you down at any point in time.
That's the same with the CPD products.
Yes. So like the good thing about WooCommerce or WordPress, something that you do is the fact that you could at any point in time handle that problem directly versus being dependent on a third party to be able to handle it for you.
Completely. Yeah. And moving on to when did you set up the watch company? What is the watch company called?
It's called Branzio.
Branzio?
Yeah, Branzio, BRANZIO.com.
And when did you set it up?
I set that up about a year ago.
How's it going? What was your first step? So you've got the branding, you've got manufacturing done?
Yeah, manufacturing done.
Manufactured where?
Manufactured in Shenzhen.
Okay,
China. Yeah, assembled. Yeah, designed in Canada, assembled in Shenzhen, shipped back home, and then home being Vancouver, BC, where I'm from. And then from there it gets deployed everywhere around the world.
What was the very first step when you wanted to set up your watch company? Where did you start?
I had to take my designer, this guy Victor, all the credit to him because he was my first product designer. I had to throw him on the deep end because he was a designer and he was very uncomfortable with designing watches or anything product related. So I had to like really, really push him to go and design these watches. And then I had to go attend some watch fairs, and I had to look for like different sort of watch manufacturers and suppliers, go and meet them at different watch trade fairs. So from the time, like mine is an exception, from the time that I had the idea for a watch to the time that I actually got the watches in hand, that whole process took me a year.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expect.
Oh.
For some
but it sucks, man. It's like so long.
Yeah, it does. You want to get on with it and you want to launch it, but things take way longer than you expect.
Yeah.
You're waiting for responses from people, changing your mind about stuff.
Production
you saw one product or something, you thought, right, I can launch that. That's what I want to use. And
I thought it'd take 2 weeks, man. I was just going to take initially what I was going to do was I was going to take somebody, this is what Movement did when they started, is like they took DW's watches, they put their logo on it, and they basically sold it as Movement watches.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to do. But then I said, wait a second, like there's no use of having a brand or a watch company if you're not going to be able to differentiate it in the market.
Yeah, you're only devaluing
the
market because there's 3 of you there, you're just going to devalue all your products.
Yes.
So you sort all that out, you got manufacturing done, a year later your products arrived at your door in Vancouver.
Yeah, and then we opened them, and before then we'd already gone through like 4 sample runs. For lack of a better word, I think the designer that we had at the time, he was really detail-oriented, which is a good thing for watches, right? You need somebody.
You need to make sure the numbers were on the watch.
Yeah. It was basically like he was really like nitpicky about little things. The Casper springs on the watches, the quality of the leather, and this is like an amazing thing that I would say that the team that worked on the watches was like they were very into the details, which is the complete opposite of who I am.
Yeah.
Right. But it's good to have that. Watches came down to the door. And started advertising for them on Facebook, seeing how it goes. I mean, we're still in the process of learning and everything else. But like I said, the watch store is running itself. We're selling the watches. I mean, of course, sales could be better. But, but for now, it's a brand that brands are not built overnight.
Yeah, it's a super new company.
Yeah, but it's like, so here's an interesting thing. When I run my e-commerce business, I don't know what, I want to hear your take on this. When I run my e-commerce businesses, my mentality is that it's day one for my business. It's any business, right? Which means I only have a limited amount of cash flow in my account, right? I only have a limited amount of resources in my company, and I can only do an X amount of things while I am running this company.
Yeah.
So that urgency that you have from the day one launch of your company to, let's say, year one is completely different. And I feel like what people forget is the mindset changes when you go from day one to year one. But if you are aggressive,
well, I take that foot off the pedal.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people think I'm quite intense.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. I haven't thought of it like that before, but looking at my to-do list, I do think long-term that I want the business to grow, but I'm very intense within the next 2-week period of how much I want to do to build my business. So in that sense, it is like day one all the time.
Yeah.
Because every 2 weeks I'm adding stuff. I feel like I'm always behind with how much I've got to do in the next 2 weeks, just on my business, not on someone else's business, but just on my business. Looking at new marketing ways, new things to modify, everything's like day one.
Yeah.
In terms of that.
Well, yeah. That's what's important, right?
Yeah.
The same thing I think about expenses also, going out of your company, right? Which is like, I mean, that's the downfall of guys like, Best Buy.
You're always in like business class.
Who?
You flying.
Well, that's because of my points.
Were you doing that in day one as well?
No,
Up
never.
Business class to Asia,
I took business class to Asia. I took business class to Asia. Actually, I took my business class. My first time I flew business class was from Melbourne, coming back to Hong Kong in 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I did that because it was Singapore Airlines and they had a ticket on for a really dirt cheap price for an upgrade. It was $500 to upgrade Canadian to upgrade on top of my ticket. And I said, okay, I'll take the $500. That was fine.
Good. It's not too often.
Yeah.
Only recently.
Oh, yeah. So I kind of enjoyed it, man. It's like, I don't know, man. It's the one time that I fly that I feel like, okay, I'm actually doing something in life that actually gives me a reward. Right? I mean, of course, people say...
It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, people go buy themselves suits, people go buy themselves nice shoes, people buy themselves, whatever they like to buy themselves. For me, it's the flying.
That's your thing.
That's my thing. Yeah, it gives me like that feeling of accomplishment about where I've come.
And do you normally have to travel with people at all?
Yeah.
Do they fly business class with you?
Yeah, they actually do.
Make sure they're sitting right up front with you.
They are.
Okay, that's good. Just making sure you're not like leaving them at the back.
No, it doesn't happen that bad.
That's good. So you got your product and then you've launched your website?
Yes.
Launched your website, and did you coordinate your marketing plan on any like social media? Because you're not going to get any organic reach on Google from...
No, not from day one. Hell no.
Well, just in general,
Google image search, maybe. You can optimize for Google image search through Pinterest. You can optimize images on Pinterest, which is kind of interesting, right?
Sure.
Social media, that's an interesting topic that you
said. Good old social media.
Yeah. Especially when we're talking about social media, quote unquote, planning.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think a social media guy does, Wes?
Good ones or just regular?
What have you seen as a trend? I'd be interested in your thoughts.
I have seen a lack of people wanting to get into the nitty-gritty of social media, advertising or marketing. I find they like to do the easy part.
Posting?
On the outskirts. So a bit like with SEO, they like to do the research, keyword research or market research, whatever it is. Creating some content. They love messing around with the content. So SEO, your on-site content. Social media like to mess around with your ad, the content on that. Same with Google AdWords. They always love messing around with your Google AdWords titles and descriptions. Everyone will do the same. And then they run the ads for a little bit and come up with some wishy-washy explanations for why it's kind of not working.
That's interesting because I have a story for you.
Yeah.
So we had this person came to us and they said they used to work for Facebook.
That's everyone's always.
Yeah. And I used to work for Facebook. I used to run the ads for the largest brands in this country. And I said, okay, well, that's good. Trusting personality, said, okay, knew the guy and knew everything else. I said, okay, well, we can give you guys a go. They spent $20,000 of my money, $20,000 US over a month. And the results were appalling.
Is this for the watches?
Yeah. And when I say appalling, it was basically like, so the excuses I kind of heard they were quite, let's say in the least sense, it was like quite disappointing because one thing was like, oh, the Facebook pixel takes time to optimize. Mm-hmm. How long does the Facebook pixel take to optimize? Well, the Facebook pixel should take, I read upon it, it takes about 27 days. Fair enough.
Yeah,
well, but that doesn't mean you just throw money into a pit and just like, not just pause the ads.
Yeah, that's a lot of, how much, it was 20,000 in how long?
That's in a month, in 30 days, man. Yeah. The cost of the watch manufacturing that I had, my first run, was less than what they spent in ads.
Yeah.
And it's quite upsetting in the sense
so
that...
So £20,000, And how much is your average product?
The average product's about $100, $150.
Yeah, that's madness.
Yeah, it is. It is. So that's my reservations with
How many
so-called
products did you
social media gurus. How many SKUs do we have?
How many products did you sell in that first month? 100?
100.
100.
Yeah. ROI was negative, man. Let me put it this way: like the company just was a money pit for the first month. It was like, and that's what we say is like, and I've fallen for this a few times. It's like, number one, don't trust these people who upsell themselves as social media gurus, right? Number two, any person who says they're a guru, unless they're a love guru, don't trust them at all.
How do you describe yourself?
Oh, thanks. Oh, yes. I don't say I'm a love guru.
I think with when you're starting out with Facebook advertising or something, you definitely start with a lower budget and then work yourself the way up as you learn who you're targeting and that you'll get some success from it. I wouldn't dive in the deep end, chuck a bunch of money at it right from the off.
No.
I'd like build it up as you refine it.
Well, that's how I built my first business, was exactly that.
Yeah.
Trial and error. But trial and error, which cost me $100 a day.
Yeah.
Not,
exactly.
Not like $1,000 a day or $1,500 a day.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, it's a pain point. What I would say is this.
So that was the first month.
That was in the first month.
That was the first month, and then how did it?
Second month, we just cut our budgets. We scaled our budgets back by fair margin, like amount to like $1,000, maybe like between $1,000 and $5,000,
Yeah.
and then we started seeing some uptake on the sales, and then the third month we're seeing some uptake again in the sales. So now we're finally coming to like break even, which is a great thing, right? So it's like fashion isn't easy, man. So it looked amazing, it looked easy on paper, but I'll tell you this, it's not easy at all, man. It is not friggin' easy at all. It's especially like the other thing that I hadn't like prepared myself mentally for, product returns. How many people return physical goods, man?
Oh yeah, and you got to handle all that.
Yeah, and we have to pay for that too. So sometimes we just ask the person to just keep the product and be like, all right, just keep it. We'll just refund it. And the problem is like with guys like Amazon, right? Amazon customer service is considered to be the best. But the problem is it's probably easy to be the best customer service when the product that they're selling is not yours. It's a third-party merchant product. And they just go, oh, wait a second. If you need any refunds, oh, not my problem. It's somebody else's. Oh, we'll just refund it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So customers go, oh, we're used to this Amazon mentality of getting to, refunds immediately for whatever I ask. So you should be following the same rule too.
They're kind of influencing all the e-commerce platforms.
Oh, it is.
And they are selling and delivery.
Yeah, Amazon does some things really well. The 2-day delivery period, freaking phenomenal, man. Like that's like as a customer, love it. As a merchant, hate it. Like they've changed the mentality of all these things, right?
Yeah, everything has to be super quick.
Yeah, everything has to be now. It has to be right, just immediate. So instant gratification. I mean, in Vancouver, we get. I'm sure in like the UK, you get everything the same day in some cases. Some products.
Yeah, I can't. They make you sign up for Amazon Prime or something.
Yeah, but like same day delivery, that's insane, man. That's amazing, right? You know what I mean? It's like you're spoiled. Also because it's the UK, it's quite small, but same.
Yeah, it's easier to get around.
Yeah, but in major Canadian cities, Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, it's same day delivery, which is quite intense.
That's pretty mad.
But having said that, it's like when you think about the long run, right? Amazon is playing out to be what a retailer is. They are kicking out their merchants. They have all the data from the third-party merchants. So if you're selling, a good example of it is, I had this forum discussion with a few guys in the e-commerce field the other day, which was, somebody was trying to buy supplements. And when they try to buy this particular brand, Lumi, I think Lumi is the name of the brand, and they try to buy this particular brand of supplement, the recommended item which Amazon gives you was Amazon's in-house brand.
Oh yeah, I heard someone talking about this before as well.
Yeah, and it's not just happening in that category. It's happening to every category because Amazon has so much data on what's selling and what's not selling. I mean, an example of it is like coffee beans in Canada. And they were selling, somebody was making like $20 a kilogram selling coffee in Canada. Amazon found out about it. They started selling it for like $5.
Yeah, cut them out. That's kind of when Alibaba came on the scene and people were buying stuff and selling it on eBay.
Yeah.
And then like the sellers on Alibaba got wise to it.
Yeah.
So they just cut out the people who were shipping it in and they started selling direct on eBay and they just cut you out. It was the same price on both websites.
It is.
You're supposed to be buying.
I mean, that's how Wish works. I don't know if you go to Wish.com, similar platform.
Yeah.
But Wish.com actually is a bit better than Amazon because There's no markups on there. It's actually directly shipped by a Chinese merchant. It's like Alibaba, basically. You just wait for 2 weeks and you just get your product, and it costs you like $1.49 or whatever the hell it costs.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cost you $20 like it does on Amazon. So customers are becoming they know what's going on. Like, it's like saying, is dropshipping going to survive? I don't know, man. It's like, you're not going to make money dropshipping because customers know that they can just go to Alibaba and order the same bloody product.
Yeah.
No problem.
So with the watches, how have you concentrated your efforts for marketing? Is that solely been Facebook and Instagram ads?
It's such a visual platform, right? So it has to be, so believe it or not, YouTube, big one, big traffic driver.
What are you doing on YouTube?
Just a 15-second video ad about the watches.
Oh, you're just doing ads on there. No, you're not doing any...
Nothing organic, no.
Video testimonials?
We try to reach out to a few influencers on YouTube.
Yeah.
And actually get them to review the watches.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, you have to pay for that too, right? The biggest bang for a buck is Instagram for now. From there, of course, I think YouTube would be the second biggest.
Yeah.
Facebook, believe it or not really good for us. And the reason why I say that is because the demographic that we have, which is, let's say, 25 to 40, 25 to 45, nobody is on Facebook, man. People are deleting Facebook off their phones.
They're dropping off.
Yeah, they're dropping off. Facebook, data in the US said Facebook actually lost users in the US. So that's why Facebook is putting so much emphasis towards WhatsApp, so much emphasis towards Instagram.
Yeah.
And, Mark Zuckerberg's new announcement or whatever to make Facebook all private and, encrypted, etc., etc. I mean, I don't know. This is an interesting story. Do you know the story about Brian Atkinson, the guy who founded WhatsApp?
No.
So he left Facebook and he left about $900 million on the table with Facebook.
Okay.
And because of Facebook's privacy policies.
Right.
So it takes some guy to actually take a stand on these kind of things.
Yeah.
Than anything else. So yeah, from an advertising perspective, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love to have all the data. I love to know whatever you guys are doing, and I love to do everything. But from a person perspective, it's like, should your phone be an open book for everybody to read? Like, I have access to your text messages, to your phone, to your WhatsApp messages, to everything. I mean, I kind of feel naked. I'm
not too worried about everything like that.
So you don't worry about being naked in front of people? Or what?
Oh, no, that as well. I just think, people listening to everything, you're not going to be able to stop them. And no one cares about me.
It's like what we were talking about the other day, right? That London is probably the most highly surveyed city in the world.
I'm interested to know
Yes.
about the influencers. Did you approach influencers on YouTube about and how much were they pitching?
We were sending about 10 to 15 emails every day.
Did you get any responses?
No. It was hard, man. It was like people...
It's hard to get in touch.
It was hard to get in touch with people, and people, of course, thought very highly of themselves as influencers, which is,
Of course,
social media people. So.
And have you had any success with Instagram?
Instagram was much easier.
For influencers or just advertising?
Yes, as influencers, because as we record this episode, we are in Bali, which is the ground zero or the world capital for influencers.
Yeah.
It's quite easy to actually get in touch with a lot of creatives here.
Yeah, you just have to walk into a cafe and
that's
shout
true.
it out loud.
Yeah. Go to Crate Cafe in Canggu, shout it out at the top of your lungs, looking for... Yeah, basically. Everybody's a bloody influencer. My food is Instagrammable, blah, blah, blah. So it's like...
You can do that.
Yeah,
so you've had success?
Yes. I think this week alone, while we've been in Uber, I believe we've had about 4 different shoots going on in Bali, Canggu, and I haven't even had to be there.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. And we actually got to partner with a few other watch brands, got connected with a few people who we can actually talk to, got partnered with an NGO where we wanted to donate about 10% of our total sales for the year, which is involved in beach cleanups, and another NGO which actually sends impoverished children to college and pays the tuition, which I think is phenomenal. I have a lot of love and give back for the community here, and then it seems like the right thing that we should be participating in, because one of the pillars of our brand is giving back to the community. So a few things when we started the brand, one thing that was near and dear to me was wildlife in Africa. All the elephants and rhinos are getting put, so 10% of our proceeds go towards that. 10% of our proceeds goes towards the Jane Goodall Foundation.
Thank you for listening to the Rude Growth Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and check back for episode 3.